So, let me ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself here. Have you ever sat down, maybe on a Sunday evening, just, dreading the upcoming week? You have got your phone in your hand, you are refreshing your banking app, and you are staring at the numbers. And even though you know you got paid 2 days ago, you are already mentally doing that math. That frantic little subtraction game where you are trying to figure out if the money that is currently sitting there is actually going to survive until next Friday. It is this weird, specific kind of anxiety, right? It is not necessarily that you are destitute, you are not starving, you have a place to live. But there is this tightness, this feeling that you are running on a treadmill that is slightly faster than you can comfortably jog. You see friends posting photos of vacations or new cars or honestly just really nice dinners and you think, how? How are they doing that? We make the same amount of money. We work the same hours. I am not stupid with my money. I do not buy yachts. I buy like groceries and Uber rides. So where is it all going? It is frustrating. It is exhausting. And honestly, it can make you feel a little bit broken, like everyone else got a manual on how to be an adult that you just missed. I have been there more times than I care to admit. My name is Bob, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while others stay stuck in the same financial patterns for decades. I do not say that to sound like I have it all figured out, believe me. I say it because I have spent years obsessing over this exact problem. I have looked at the spreadsheets, I have read the textbooks, and I have talked to the people who have made it, and I have realized that the problem usually is not that we are bad at math. The problem is that our brains are wired for a world that does not exist anymore. And once you understand that wiring, once you see the invisible strings that are pulling your wallet open, it changes everything. Not just your bank account, but your entire sense of calm. You stop feeling like a victim of your own life. And today, we are going to dig into that. We are going to talk about why you feel broke, the psychology of the invisible paywall that keeps getting higher, and how to stop running the race that everyone else is running so you can actually start winning the one that matters to you. It is going to require a little bit of a shift in perspective, but stick with me, because I think it is the most important conversation you will have about your money this year. So, where do we even start? Well, we have to start with the most insidious, quiet little financial killer out there. It is not the latte. I know every personal finance guru loves to yell at you about avocado toast, but honestly, that is noise. The real problem is something called lifestyle creep. You know what I'm talking about. It usually starts the moment you get a raise or a slightly better job. You are living on, let us say, $40,000 a year, and it is tough. You are ramen noodle tough. And then you finally get that bump to $55,000. You feel like a king. You think, okay, finally I can breathe. But here is what happens. You move out of that apartment with the roommates who never wash their dishes, and you get a studio by yourself. It is great. It is quiet, but it costs an extra $400 a month. Then, because you are making more, you stop looking at the price tag on the sushi. You upgrade your phone plan because, hey, you can afford the unlimited data now. You start taking Ubers instead of the bus when it is raining, and suddenly, 6 months later, you look at your bank account and you have the exact same amount of savings as you did when you were making $40,000, or maybe even less. How is that possible? It is because your lifestyle, your standard of normal, inflated to match your income. You did not even notice it happening. It was just gradual. It was just little upgrades here and there. A nicer bottle of wine, a gym membership you actually go to, better toilet paper. And the problem is not that you are enjoying your life. You should enjoy your life. The problem is that you have anchored your happiness to a moving target. Here is the thing about the human brain: we are terrible at absolute happiness. We do not experience joy based on how things are. We experience joy based on how things are compared to how they used to be. It is called the hedonic treadmill. Let me give you a weird analogy. Think about wearing shoes. If you put on a pair of comfortable shoes, you notice them for about 5 minutes. Then, you stop feeling them. They just become part of your body. But if you have a tiny rock in your shoe, you notice it constantly. It is all you can think about. Money is kind of the same way. Having enough is like comfortable shoes. You stop noticing it. But lacking something, that is the rock. So when you upgrade your life, you get rid of the rock, but you also get used to the new shoes. And then, if those shoes get a little tight, if you have a slight dip in income, panic sets in immediately. So what do you actually do about this? How do you stop the creep? Honestly, it is about intentionally creating friction. You have to be the person who puts the rock in your own shoe, metaphorically speaking. When you get a raise or a bonus or a sudden influx of cash, your brain is going to scream at you to spend it. It is going to say, look, you worked hard. You deserve that new car. You deserve that vacation. And maybe you do. But before you do anything, I want you to try something counterintuitive. Wait. Just wait. Give it 3 months. Keep living exactly as you were living before the money hit. Keep the old car. Keep the apartment. Keep the tight grocery budget. For 3 months, take that extra money and siphon it off into a separate account somewhere you cannot touch it easily. Do not think of it as savings. Think of it as buying your freedom. Every dollar you put in there is a dollar you do not ever have to earn again. It is a dollar that buys you time later. I know, it sounds boring. It sounds like I am telling you to live like a monk. But trust me, the feeling of seeing that account grow, of knowing you could walk away from a toxic job because you have a cushion, that rush is way better than the new car smell. And unlike the car, which starts depreciating the second you drive it off the lot, that freedom, it compounds. It gets bigger and stronger every single day. All right, so we have talked about how we spend. But let us shift gears and talk about something a little bit darker, or maybe just heavier. Let's talk about the people around you. Have you ever noticed that your spending habits look weirdly similar to the 5 people you hang out with the most? If your friends are into craft beer and fancy dinners, you are probably into craft beer and fancy dinners. If your friends are obsessed with hiking and camping, your weekends probably look like that, and your spending goes to REI instead of bars. This is what sociologists call your reference group, and it is quietly controlling your financial life. I remember this phase I went through a few years ago where I started hanging out with a group of guys who were really into watches. And I'm not talking about Timex. I am talking about Swiss mechanical timepieces that cost more than a used Honda Civic. For a while, I was just observing. I was like, wow, that is cool. I appreciate the craftsmanship. But then, slowly, the worm got into my brain. I started scrolling through watch forums at 2 a.m. I started justifying it in my head. I was thinking, well, it is an investment. It holds its value. It is a piece of art. And I nearly dropped $3,000 on a watch that I did not need, that would not make me happier, and that would have stressed me out every time I wore it because I would be terrified of scratching it. Thankfully, I came to my senses, but the experience scared me because I realized how suggestible I am. We all like to think we are these rugged individuals making our own choices, marching to the beat of our own drum. But we are not. We are social animals. We are pack animals. We look to the pack to see what normal is. If your normal is defined by people who spend everything they make, you will spend everything you make. It is almost physically impossible to swim against that current forever. It is just too exhausting, and this has gotten 1,000 times worse with social media. Because our reference group is no longer just the people we see in real life. It is the 5,000 people we follow on Instagram. We are constantly comparing our behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. You see someone in Bali, someone in a new Tesla, someone with a perfectly renovated kitchen. You do not see their credit card debt. You do not see the stress they feel when they check their mail. You do not see the fight they had with their spouse about money. You just see the shiny object. So, how do you fix this? You have to curate your feed like you curate your diet. If you follow people who make you feel bad about your life, who trigger that feeling of I am not enough, unfollow them. Just mute them. Do it right now. I will wait. It is not about being jealous. It is about protecting your peace of mind. You need to build a mental fortress around your own values. You have to sit down and ask yourself, what actually makes me happy? Is it the luxury watch, or is it the freedom to take a Tuesday off to go fishing? Is it the designer bag? Or is it knowing that if my car breaks down, I can pay for it without crying? Once you know your values, you can spot the trap. You can look at a shiny object and say, that is cool for them, but it is not for me. It is a simple shift, but it is incredibly powerful.